Welcome to Coach's Corner on Beaver County Radio. Tonight's show will also be live streamed on our Facebook page at WBVP-WMBA. Coach's Corner is brought to you by Junction Auto Service, McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, Geneva College, Fish's New Brighton Foodland and Beaver Falls Save-A-Lot, the Community College of Beaver County, the J&J Spratt Funeral Home, and the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority. Now let's take it to our host for tonight's edition of Coach's Corner on Beaver County Radio.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a playoff segment of the Coach's Corner. Along with John Perrotto, I'm Bruce Frey. Our special guest, Coach Nick Nardone of the BF Tigers. We'll have to cut him an expense check for his gasoline as far as he came to be at our studio here tonight, but we're certainly glad to have him. We'll have plenty of questions for him. We welcome you aboard on Facebook Live on 99.7 and 99.3 and 95.7, as well as on Beaver County Radio. We're glad to have you. We certainly enjoyed doing this show. And again, I understand that there was a name change, but I'm still going with my Heinz Field traditional hat here. That's what Coach is shooting for, and we'll certainly talk about that. We also have a player guest tonight. Antoine Johnson of Central Valley is in the studio, and we look forward to him. So John, you can lead off because you had the honor, if you will, I guess it's a dubious one, of covering the BF Tigers last Friday. You can. We only have an hour though. Tell us what happened.
Well, Bruce, between newspapers and radio, I've been covering high school football for a long time, and I've never been at a stadium ready to cover a game in one stadium and have it move to another on the spur of the moment. But there was a power outage on College Hill. That all the lights went out at Reeves Field in Geneva about 45 minutes before or not even that, less than that, I should say, yes, before the start of the game, scheduled start. And after some quick thinking on a lot of people's parts from 3 different school districts, the game almost moved to Elwood City, ended up going to Blackhawk, and amazingly, everybody left Reeves about 7:15, and by 8:30, everyone was in place and good to go, and the game started, and Beaver Falls went on to win handily, 52-0 over Ligonier Valley.
Yeah, I guess the hero in the whole thing is Zach Hayward of Blackhawk, who, Coach, what did you say he was painting his roof or whatever? He was doing household chores when the call came in that things were going on crazy, but certainly for Blackhawk to prepare like that makes you proud to be from 15010, that entire zip code.
Yeah, Zach, from what they told me, he was doing some painting at his house and dropped whatever he was doing and got him and his staff there, and were able to get the lights on and get everything set up, and they were great hosts. We really appreciate them helping us out.
Yeah, no, from your standpoint as a coach, what's it like with your players? First of all, you had to go get a bus, I would imagine. I mean, how'd you even get from one to the other?
Well, we have a bus that takes us from the school up to Geneva.
Yeah,
so luckily,
you had that, that's
luckily
good.
This is one of those cases where it was good to not have a field right at our school where we had a bus to take us up to Geneva. Otherwise, we would have been scrambling to find a way to get up to Blackhawk. But once we found out what we were doing, we hopped up on the bus. Mr. Carbone kind of explained everything, what was going on, did a real nice job with Ligonier Valley's AD to get everything squared away, and talking to the Whitfield, and we headed up. And like I said, Blackhawk was great hosts, and
yes,
we got the game.
I mean, you prepare for a lot of things each week for each game. All kind of possibilities that could happen within the confines of the game. But I'm guessing you didn't practice up and moving from one field to another. How were you? I mean, how do you handle that on short notice? And especially, your players. I mean, they're all ready to play. They're warmed up, ready to go. Then all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute, we got to get on a bus and go play somewhere else.
And the craziest part is we were in the pitch black during all this, too. I mean, there was no lights in the locker room, and kids are in there. Thank God they have cell phones. Yeah. They were using their cell phones for flashlights just to have conversations and kind of relax. So it was a little helter-skelter at first. We told them to take their pads off because we thought we were going to be sitting for a while waiting for the electric company. And then all of a sudden, they said, we're going to Blackhawk. So we said, throw your pads back on, get on the bus, and let's head up. And they're a mature group. They handled it well. I was proud of them.
John, I think that's on the mindset of most coaches: offense, defense, special teams, power failure.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that seems like it's par for the course.
It might be now.
Yeah. So, Coach, getting back to football, I mean, I read the Tribune Review's account of the game, and obviously the poor guy, Bill Beckner, had a long night driving from all the way in Westmoreland County and reporting on the game. But he recognized you and just said, they're a very good team. I'm eager to see how far they go. They had 2 300-pounders. We just couldn't move them. What was your take on the game itself? And again, let's remember, this is a WPIL playoff game.
Yeah, again, I mean, a lot of credit goes to our kids. They were mature. They handled the craziness of pregame, and they came out and were firing on all cylinders. I mean, we started a game throwing the ball and hit a touchdown pass on the first play and kind of really never looked back from there. Our defense was lights out on all 3 phases, and the kids really played and really executed the game plan as good as we could have.
That's all you could ask for in that situation.
Absolutely.
I was going to say, Nick, obviously on top of the power failure, it was an ugly night, a lot of rain, kind of, windy, a little bit kind of cold. It didn't seem like a night conducive to passing, but yet you hit that big play right out of the gate. What what made you think on a night when it looked like it was more run-oriented night to go ahead and try to hit the bomb right away?
Well, I'll tell you, it wasn't in our original script. We just came out and we saw that they were in a certain defense, and I was kind of surprised that they were in the defense they were in, but they were giving us one-on-one outside, and we had to take a chance. And when you have Jaron and Trey, 2 seniors that have been doing it for a long time together, you have a lot of confidence in those 2 to get it done.
And I was going to say, it was a perfectly executed pass because the coverage wasn't really bad on the play. I mean, Trey was fairly well covered, but yet Jaron just put that ball right through the tight window. You had to be. I mean, that really shows what they're able to do as like a veteran duo.
Yeah, and that's what they've been doing all season. So, I mean, like I said, when I saw what they were in, I mean, I have all the confidence in the world in those 2. So it was a no-brainer to me to check it to that play.
Coach, the Heinz Field hat is nice and it's symbolic, and I'll wait for my employer to give me an Acrisure Stadium hat to wear at gate C. But it does bring back a tough memory. This is the first time we've had you on this year of your game with Sarah down there a year ago. On one hand, you teach people to have a short memory, but I'm sure on the other hand, you've learned from that, and I'm sure with your team, you really try now to protect the football whenever possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, you don't dwell on it, but you let it motivate you to improve whatever you need to improve. So. A big point this week, because obviously the weather's changing, it's going to start getting colder, is turnovers are a big part of the game and protecting the football. So we've been impressing into our players' minds that it's going to be make or break protecting the football. Stowe Rocks this year reminds me a lot of Sarah last year. They're opportunistic. They
playmakers,
force turnovers, make big plays, and we could have the same result if we aren't more cognizant of protecting the football. So it's been a major focus this week for sure.
When you get that close to a title and don't win in the championship game, how much does that fuel your kids, do you think, to come back this year and really want to give it a shot to do it again?
Yeah, I mean, you hope that's the whole total motivation. You go into every year with one goal to win a championship, and when you do it 2 years ago and then come up a game short this past season, that should be motivation enough to know that these guys have to do a little bit here and a little bit there to improve their game so we don't let it happen again.
Yeah, Nick, we had the game, obviously 2020, the year of the pandemic, there was no Heinz Field, not even for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they were there, but in empty seats. Your game with Stowe Rocks, we had it. It was at North Hills High School. And that was pretty much a case, I would think, of you pretty much grinding it out with Huff and Livingston. And how do you, for those who were at that game in 2020, your matchup with Stowe Rocks, can you tell us how it's evolved into 2022 and what we might want to look for?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, that year we were a run major focused team, and we relied on those guys all year. But the nice thing is you have Jaron, who started on that team, Trey, who started on that team, and there's a handful of guys, even some of our linemen were freshmen and sophomores starting on that line who had experience in that game, so they know what that game plan was, and we kind of blended our game from what we were doing that year to along with what we were doing last year, and we try to have as much balance as we can on offense, where we're throwing the ball, running the ball, keeping teams and defenses hopefully on their heels, where they got to try to stop everything.
You have, as Mike White pointed out in the Post-Gazette, I believe this morning or yesterday morning, 2 5,000-yard passers going head-to-head for the first time ever in a WPIL championship game with Jared Brickner from the Tigers and Josh Jenkins from the Stowe Rocks Vikings. How interesting a matchup is that to have two veteran quarterbacks going head-to-head like this in a big game?
It's fun. I don't think as a fan you could ask for anything else when you have two athletes, two gifted football players that have been doing it for 3 or 4 years for their respective teams. You want to see the best play the best. That's what the WPIAL playoffs are all about, and I think you're going to get to see that Friday night.
Supposedly 33 and partly cloudy headed into game time, but that's 3 miles each. 5,000 yards. That's a lot of offense. So we are going to take a break here and throw it over to Mr. Curtis Walsh. But you're watching the Coach's Corner on Facebook Live, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, 95.7 and 99.3 FM.
Choose your path at Community College of Beaver County and start learning for real life at a realistic cost. CCBC's 2-year degree programs get you trained and earning a salary in less time and with less debt. Programs in aviation, nursing, education, process technology, criminal justice, and more will prepare you for a real future. You belong here. Apply now or learn more at ccbc.edu.
Did you know Fisher's New Brighton Foodland is as close as a click? That's right. If you're watching or listening to this broadcast online, open up a new window and click GroceryStoreNewBrighton.com and start shopping right now. Fill your grocery order from New Brighton Foodland and follow Beaver County High School football all at the same time. What could be better? Fill your shopping cart up without ever leaving the sidelines. Visit GroceryStoreNewBrighton.com.
No matter what the circumstances, no matter the reason, one of the few things that is left when a loved one passes on are the memories. Staging those memories in an honoring way is one of the reasons so many people have chosen J&J Spratt Funeral Home. A person's legacy depends on a lifetime of accomplishments and then how they are remembered. J&J Spratt Funeral Home has helped start the process of creating positive legacies for over 70 years. Visit jjsprattfh.com. Joseph M. Spratt, Supervisor and Funeral Director.
Carver Construction in New Brighton is proud of all of our local football teams. They know what it takes to be a winner. It takes dedication, talent, and desire to do your best. All the things Carver Construction offers its customers. They've been doing it since 1982 for both residential and commercial renovations. Carver Construction, 1090 3rd Avenue in New Brighton. Building dreams one home at a time. Call 724-847-1572 or visit their website, carverconstructionpa.com.
McGee Heating and Air Conditioning in Aliquippa has been in business for nearly 60 years. Now that's experience you can count on when you call McGee Heating and Air Conditioning at 724-375-7112. They'll answer your call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sue Curlin and her winning team service most brands, and McGee Heating and Air Conditioning is locally owned and operated. As always, they wish their best to our local teams. McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, Main Street, Aliquippa.
Welcome back for our second segment. Along with John Perrotto, this is Bruce Frey and our guest coach, Nick Nardone. We honor him with, right? Impressed?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I am impressed.
He liked it. Yeah. So that's good. We're in the right frame of mind as we head into the WPIL semifinals. And Coach, I'm sure training camp seemed like yesterday. You know the old saying how it just goes like that. But one of the games that caught my attention was it was played back near training camp. I'm pretty sure it was an August game was Steel Valley defeated Stowe Rocks 29-24. I believe that was Stowe Rocks' only defeat. And obviously Steel Valley you have a history with also, and you would like to resume that next week.
Yeah, I remember watching some of that film. We were able to get some, and it was just a battle of time almost. It was Stowe Rocks had the ball going down to win the game and just ran out of time, but those were two really good teams going back and forth, toe-to-toe, and we feel like we fit right in with those two. It should be a good game Friday night.
Nick, I wanted to touch on your defense a little bit. Obviously Jaron generates a lot of headlines with his play as a quarterback and Frey as a wide receiver. But you pitched a shutout last week against Ligonier Valley. They came in with a running back who'd had 200 yards the previous week against Western Beaver and only had 9 yards on 7 carries on Friday. And it was your third shutout of the year. And it just seemed like you're, especially all three levels of your defense, but particularly your line really played really well, I thought, last Friday.
Yeah, I mean, it's a testament to the kids, like I said, and also our defensive staff. We had a great defensive game plan. They did a nice job breaking down film, understanding what we were going to be getting in different formations that Ligonier Valley gave us, and the kids were really focused this past week and really locked in on understanding what was coming. And we tell the kids all the time, if you know what's coming before it comes, you got that big of an advantage. And I really think it was a good job of game planning and knowing what to expect from that team.
Nick, looking back on the 2022 regular season now that it's done, what were some of the high points along the way with you? I would think that one would be defeating the Shannock, which is still in the Final Four in Double-A. What is your take on the season, and what were some of the good moments for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously playing that game against the Shannock and the game against Western, those were our two bigger games conference-wise and taking care of our business. Early on, it's always nice to get a win up at Blackhawk. That's a big game for our community. And it was obviously not the result we wanted, but that loss to Beaver was a great turning point for our team.
In what way was that?
Just as a play caller, I really learned what we were offensively. I think before that I was putting our kids in not the best positions, and that game was kind of an eye-opener and a wake-up call for me as a play caller, and we kind of adapted the offense there, and it's really taken off since that game.
Nick, as you well know, playoffs are a different animal than a regular season, and you as a coach and your staff and your players have now played in quite a few playoff games here the last few years. How important is that to have that experience and just kind of understand what that kind of quote-unquote second season is all about?
Oh, yeah, it's huge. I mean, you really, like you said, take on a whole nother season. Teams all around, kind of their games step up whenever you get to the playoffs, so you're always getting everybody's best. And our kids over the years, with the experience they have, are prepared for that. They're ready for the highs. They understand how to handle the lows and recover, and they're really mentally tough in terms of how to handle the playoff atmosphere.
Especially from your holdovers from 2020 when you had that deep playoff run at that point. So, and again, to me, that kind of thing is priceless. Just to be able to get in that situation. So many teams who are first-timers at this level of playoffs, they have that proverbial deer in the headlights. They can be overwhelmed by the entire situation. In your case, I'm sure you'll be good to go.
Yeah, our kids do a nice job. We try to help them just understand, to treat it like another game, not make the moment bigger than it is. And because of their experience, I really think they do. They don't get too high, too low. Like I said, they stay pretty even keel and keep their composure well.
I wanted to ask you about the Italian Buford on Friday night. Had 106 yards all in the first half. How big of a key is he to your offense? I know, like you said, you're more of a throwing team now than you were when you won the WPIL 2 years ago. But you did run the ball effectively on Friday night. I was wondering how big of a key he is to what you want to do offensively here.
Yeah, I mean, him and Bricks and Dre and Deshaun and Jerry, I mean, we run them all. I mean, we're a running back crew by committee, and we we were lucky enough, or D'Italian was lucky enough that Friday night kind of was his night. But all season long, it's been a different guy. We've had, I think, 6 or 7 different kids go over 100 this season, just because, I mean, at any point in time, anybody's name could be called, and the kids do a nice job of being ready when their name is called, and not being selfish if their name is not being called. They block for each other, and it's fun to see them all be successful at different points throughout the season.
Coach, we talked about 2020 with Huff and Livingston being around, the emphasis on the running game, so that Jaron could pretty much be a quote-unquote game manager. They use that one in the media quite a bit to describe a quarterback who hands off a lot. What have you done to help his evolution, and how would you say his evolution has come along in terms of finding secondary receivers and decision-making, et cetera, et cetera? How has he evolved in the past few years?
Yeah, well, I'll definitely say that year Jaron doesn't get enough credit, because a lot of the stuff that we did, even though we were handing the ball off, was checking plays at the line, and we put a lot of responsibilities on him as a sophomore to put us in the right plays, to give Josh and Shalik the best opportunity. And his knowledge those first couple of years, just kind of being the so manager, has really taken his game to another level, because he understands defenses, and his understanding of a front now has evolved into his understanding of an entire defensive scheme, and he really knows what to read, when to read it, and knows who to get the ball in what situation. So he's, over the years, the mental part of his game has grown so much. It's really exciting, and I'm proud of him, the way he's become not just an athlete and a thrower, but just an all-around quarterback.
How big of an advantage is it to have somebody with that experience too, could kind of pretty much an extension of the coaching staff, you know, has been there so long, knows exact, you know, kind of both know exactly what each other's thinking. I would think that has to be a pretty big plus.
Yeah, huge difference. I mean, when you're out there and you're calling plays, defenses obviously are going to make adjustments, but when you have a quarterback that can recognize the adjustment and change the play to put us in a better play, it's something you hope you have every year, but you really, I'm sure next year we're gonna miss it, because you kind of don't realize how important it is till you don't have it anymore.
No, the one thing about getting sizable leads, as you have in several games, is at least gives your backups a chance to get out there and play. And I'm sure your staff is working hard. It would be tough shoes to fill, to be the guy who steps in after him in 2023.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a couple guys that we're excited to see what they can do in the future, but we're focused on right now, and we hope we can send him and the other seniors off with another championship. That's our goal.
Nick, I know you're an Elwood City guy. You grew up in Elwood, played it for the Wolverines, but you have a lot of roots in Beaver Falls, a lot of family here. Nardone's been a name synonymous with Beaver Falls football for seemingly ever. How much pride do you take in that, too, knowing that you're kind of the latest generation of Nardone here in Beaver Falls?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, my dad went here, my aunt went here, both my uncles went here, so they're all Beaver Falls, and to get this job was a blessing, and to be able to coach with him here at his alma mater for a couple years while he was helping me out, that's something I'll remember forever. Then my uncle helped out a year. My cousin right now is helping out now, so it's a family thing, and Beaver Falls, like you said, is a big part of my family's history, so it's a blessing to be able to be here and coach.
Nick, we've talked about how playoff experience helps the players. How about yourself, for being an assistant on the infamous 2016 state championship team? What was that like, and how did that help you in developing into a head coach when your time came?
I mean, I still talk to him now, but Ryan Matzuk was kind of obviously my mentor, and I still reach out to him, wins, losses, whatever. He's had a big impact on my life and on my coaching abilities, and there's a lot of things we do now, whether it's pre-game or prayer before the game, that I just kind of stole off of him and kept going. So being an assistant and seeing the way he ran practices and the way his staff worked, we try to emulate it. I mean, when you hear people say, when it's not broke, don't fix it. So he left us with a good situation, and we've been just trying to keep things rolling and keep that legacy he left going.
Well, you've certainly done that, and it should be commended. And I'm sure Ryan will be checking out the results if he's not there in person. I'm sure he'll be checking it out electronically in some fashion.
Absolutely.
And Nick, I know you know Bob Berrickman very well, and Bob has had some medical issues here, been not on the air lately. I know it's killing him not to do your games and all the games around the Beaver Valley, but he wanted to pass along his best to you and wish you all the best of luck on Friday night against Stowe Rocks. And I just wanted you to know that. And also, Bob, we hope you get well soon. And the people, Pizza Joe's, our sponsor in Beaver, I risk not to say that Tony, the manager, and Tiffany, the owner, both send along their best, Bob.
Everybody goes to Pizza Joe's, but we're glad to have their stuff tonight. Antoine Johnson has had some. You've had some. I've certainly had some. There's no question of that. So we're glad to have them help us out, and we definitely give our best wishes to Bob. I'm sure he'll be joining us much more sooner than later. But we're going to take a break. You're watching the Coach's Corner here on Facebook Live, Beaver County Radio, and 99.3 FM and 95.7 FM, Beaver Falls.
Are you in high school and thinking about your future, or know someone who is? Consider Geneva College. Geneva is a Christian college that prepares students for meaningful service and their life's work. Geneva has over 145 majors and programs, 18 varsity sports, 100 study abroad programs, and lots of club activities. And Beaver County scholarships help to make a Geneva education affordable. Learn more by visiting geneva.edu. That's geneva.edu.
You can run out and buy a new car if you can find one or afford one. Or you can take good care of the one you have. Take it from Steve at Junction Auto Service. It's all about maintenance. A lot of things have changed in the past few years, but taking care of your car isn't one of them. Now more than ever before, it makes good sense to maintain the vehicle you have. And nobody does it better than Junction Auto. Mention you heard this ad and get 10% off any visit. Visit junctionautoservice.com or stop by their location at 425 Constitution Boulevard, New Brighton.
Scoring big at dinner doesn't necessarily have to mean getting the score run up on your family food budget. Level the playing field by shopping at Beaver Falls Save-A-Lot. There's a reason why they say your dollar goes far at Save-A-Lot. Maybe it's time to switch teams, and while you plan for a big playoff run, head out on a grocery store run. Even when time is running out, being able to park close to the door and find what you need in an instant without wading through a maze of aisles makes Beaver Falls Save-A-Lot the right call.
Get your furnace tuned up and fall into savings. Just call Keller Heating and Cooling now through the end of November and get $250 off a new system. A new Daikin system features up to a 12-year warranty. Keller Heating and Cooling is locally founded, Beaver County based, and family owned, serving Beaver County and surrounding areas. Keller firmly believes in supporting small businesses which help the community they call home. Whatever your HVAC needs, call Keller Heating and Cooling, 412-628-2207.
No matter what the circumstances, no matter the reason, one of the few things that is left when a loved one passes on are the memories. Staging those memories in an honoring way is one of the reasons so many people have chosen J&J Spratt Funeral Home. A person's legacy depends on a lifetime of accomplishments and then how they are remembered. J&J Spratt Funeral Home has helped start the process of creating positive legacies for over 70 years. Visit jjsprattfh.com. Joseph M. Spratt, Supervisor and Funeral Director.
McGee Heating and Air Conditioning in Aliquippa has been in business for nearly 60 years. Now that's experience you can count on when you call McGee Heating and Air Conditioning at 724-375-7112. They'll answer your call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sue Curlin and her winning team service most brands, and McGee Heating and Air Conditioning is locally owned and operated. As always, they wish their best to our local teams. McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, Main Street, Aliquippa.
Welcome back for segment number 3 here on the Coach's Corner, playoff edition, Acrisure Stadium edition, as we're playing for the right to get to Acrisure Stadium. And we're certainly pleased to be here along with John Perrotto. I'm Bruce Frey. Our special guest, Antoine Johnson, one of Central Valley, one of our CCBC players of the game. Antoine, for which game did you get your certificate?
Blackhawk.
Blackhawk, okay,
Yeah.
That's fine. And that was a win for your team. And certainly things are going well for Central Valley right now.
Yeah. I think a big key to our success right now, our defense. Our defense is making plays for offense, setting us up in good field position to make it easier for us to score, honestly. Our defense is stopping teams in the 10-yard line. We're getting the ball back on our 30. That's 3
Short
first
field,
downs and a
yes.
touchdown. So I think that's a big key, and then our offense has just been clicking. Our line's good. We got a great running back in Brett. Javen, receiver, De Niro at slot, and we got Brady Hudson at other receiver. We all just click well, and this is great chemistry from all of us.
Antoine makes a good point about the defense. I think sometimes it's gotten overlooked this year because of their explosive offense. But after the first couple games of the year, the Warriors have hardly given up any points for like the last 2 months, and really outstanding. Antoine, what really stands out when I've seen you guys play this year is the explosiveness of your offense. It seems like on any play, you're capable of scoring, whether you're on your own 20, on the other team's 20, at the 50. How much fun is that to run an offense where you have so many playmakers, including yourself?
I think it's great because then the game doesn't rely on you the whole time. And if something goes wrong, it's not always your fault, but it's always great to have someone to get the ball and then they can make a play. And then next thing you know, second quarter, we're up by 40 just because we have so many different playmakers.
Yeah.
Well, Antoine, I've been in the Central Valley coaching office, and it's mind-boggling, some of this. They've got like Florida State left and sweep to the, they got so many formations. And now that you pretty much are the custodian, the quarterback position, Coach Lyons is considered an offensive guru. How is it, we talked about Jaron Brickner and his evolve. How have you evolved over the past few seasons as a play caller?
Well, my freshman year, I didn't play, so I came in sophomore year, essentially my first year ever playing quarterback, and then I had a great mentor, Amir Dudley. So I came into that year just studying him, seeing what he reads, studying the playbook mostly because that's what I needed to get down. And then my junior year, I didn't even start the first 3 games. Merritt went down, and I just trusted myself and trusted in my reads and all like that. And then even the seniors even took me in and was like, man, you're here now, so make the best of your opportunities. So I just did that, reading defenses, and then now I feel like as time went on, I really studied more defenses than, knowing what I'm going up against so I can be a better thrower in the game. So, essentially the game has really slowed down for me just to make the plays that I need to make. So
Great.
You said you didn't play until your sophomore year. What made you decide to want to go play football?
Well, that year off, I was essentially bored. I didn't have nothing to do. I missed the game too much. I needed to come back. It was like I was fiending for it. It was like an addiction. Football's like an addiction for me. So for me to come back, I needed to, and I loved it. And I'm happy with the decision I made to come back and play.
How can you describe what it's like to walk off the pitch at Hershey Park Stadium after defeating Wyomissing?
For me, it was like a dream come true, honestly. You're starting quarterback, we didn't blow the team out, but a win's a win in my eyes. So, it was just great just to win a state championship.
No doubt. When the trophy sits there in the case, they're generally not they don't do that anymore, is inscribe final scores anymore.
Yeah.
All you got to do is say 2020 PIAA or 2021 PIAA state champs. That's good enough. But it was certainly, was it nerve-wracking for you going into there because it was your first time starting at that level?
Absolutely. I feel like I had a lot riding on me with the seniors. I didn't want to disappoint, but we just came out there and we played. We really ran the ball really well. So, what Coach Nardone said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we just kept running the ball. Landon scored a late touchdown like the third quarter, and our defense stopped, Wyomissing's triple.
Right.
Wing T, triple
our man Sean Fitzsimmons shot the gap on that fourth down play. I can still see it. He just kaboom right through their quote-unquote all-state offensive tackle and made the play.
You know, you talk about championship, and your school district isn't all that old. I mean, it's only 11 or 12 years, whatever it is, since the merger. But yet, you've already accomplished so much, Central Valley, so many trophies in that trophy case, be it conference championships, WPIL, state. Even though you don't have that tradition, like, hey, in 1930, we won this or that, how proud are you guys of what that school's accomplished in such a short period of time?
I mean, we're definitely happy to accomplish what we have in 12 years. You know, it takes teams 12 years to identify themselves.
No doubt.
But we've had two great NFL players come through our program, and Jordan Whitehead and then Robert Foster. So I really just set the identification for ourselves, and then we just kept running with it, honestly.
So quick arithmetic, I'm doing the best I can, but you would have been at about kindergarten when the whole thing started, or first grade. So basically, guys like you haven't known anything else. You might as well grow up with that incentive.
Yeah. I mean, originally I'm from Aliquippa, so I moved to Central Valley in 5th grade, and it's just, I think it's probably the best decision I've ever made.
Well, that sounds good to us, but John, as you pointed out before we went on the air, we generally go around games in the valley just to take a look around, but this time it's more fun because there's only 5 of them, so we can focus in on things. Let's just work our way up from enrollment, and let's hear Antoine's thoughts. He's out in the trenches. He's seen these teams. The first thing is in single A, Southside plays Bishop Canavan, which is a defending WPIL champ. You probably haven't gotten to see Southside, but they have a solid running game, but I think they'll be tested by Bishop's offense.
I think both teams are essentially great. I mean, you're in the position you are now just because you are a good team, and it really just comes down whose defense can stop what offense, and whatever defense stops whatever offense should come out victorious.
No question. And John, did you work the first Rochester Union game?
I did.
Right. Tell us your thoughts on that.
You know, Rochester had just transitioned to their backup quarterback, Parker Lyons, that got hurt and was unfortunately out for the season.
Yes.
You know, they were still kind of struggling a little bit offensively to get used to a new quarterback. And they got shut out by Union 6-0, but Union didn't score until the last minute of the game. And Rochester's defense played tremendous that night. And if Rochester's defense plays that well now as they did then, with Union now with their offense back on track after making that adjustment, I think Rochester is going to wind up at Acrisure Stadium.
Okay, Braylon Taylor, the guy who scored that touchdown, Union's quarterback, he actually was here. He was our CCBC player of the game that day. And I credit him for coming down with his dad from Newcastle to be on the show. We enjoyed having. I'd say he was almost as articulate as Antoine. He was doing his best, but he was a good guy. And it also, the interesting aspect is obviously the Matsooks are royalty, that family in coaching in this area, but they're going against Niadbala, which is very close to royalty as well in this area. So an interesting matchup in single A.
It really is interesting. And when I think about when I played baseball at Western Beaver and Kim was our bat boy when he was like 7 years old, it makes me feel really old to think that he's went away from the
He
WPL
still kept some of your bats, though. He's cherished them forever.
Well, there's a lot of hits in them.
There's a lot of holes in them.
I left a lot of hits in those bats.
Well, in Double A, we've talked about it before. Have you been able to see Beaver Falls play this year? They go against Stowe Rocks. I like the over, to be honest with you. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored.
I have not watched Beaver Falls, but I have a lot of close friends in Beaver Falls, like Trey, Jaron. I talk to them every day.
Oh, that's good.
I know that they are going to come into the game hard working, just as his Stowe Rocks will. And Josh Jenkins, he just committed to Holy Cross. I mean, they're definitely going to be two great offenses in the game. And whatever defense stops the offense is going to win the game. I mean, that's just what it is. Like they say, defense wins championships.
That last stop that you talk about might happen with 0.1 on the. It could be cut and dry.
Yeah.
Mr. Perrotto, what's your take on that match?
I think it's going to be a fun game.
Should be a good one.
Should be a good ball game, no doubt. I mean, two really outstanding quarterbacks who have very impressive resumes, long and successful resumes. And, Stowe Rocks, they lost their first two, and they haven't lost since. They're on, I guess, a 9 or 10 game winning streak.
Right.
Beaver Falls, only one loss, and that was all the way back in the second game of the season. So you have two teams that not only are good, but they're really playing well coming into this game too. So it's really going to be a good one.
As a WPIL semifinal should be. Then there's another one scheduled. How about this one? Central Valley and TJ. So we'll keep him off the spot on that one.
I think I know who he wants to be.
He can withdraw on that one. But John, it's ironic. Last night at a state volleyball West Region final, Coach Cherpak was Thomas Jefferson versus North Catholic in girls volleyball. Who's the only adult in all of Fox Chapel wearing shorts? It's Coach Cherpak got there, because it was an 8 o'clock match. Yeah. He got there, and I can guarantee you that Coach Cherpak knows who number 7 is. We understand that, but I think Antoine would also know from film study, they're big and physical, right? I'm sure we agree on that.
Absolutely, yeah. TJ's always been big and physical. That's what they breed from day one. I mean, at the end of the day, we just got to be physical back with them. So,
right, that's for sure. And John, again, that 4A is really blessed with 2 brilliant semifinal games. The other one being Aliquippa in McKeesport, which to the best of my knowledge went overtime a year ago. And so that was, and I believe it was Williams, the tight end, catching the pass that clinched it for Aliquippa. So obviously, Antoine, you have had the experience of playing against Aliquippa. What's your take on them versus McKeesport?
Well, when we came in and playing Aliquippa, we were really stopped the run. And I really would think, what I think surprised us the most is they are really versatile when throwing the ball. They can throw the ball at any time they want to. And if McKeesport can stop the both of them, and McKeesport's offense is doing well, then
I think Boyd is their tailback.
Yeah, but they also run that triple option wing T.
Right.
So, and Aliquippa's defense is absolutely fantastic. They stopped our run, and it was just hard for us to get going with no run game because we breed off. We want to run that ball, pound it down your throats, and Aliquippa did a fantastic job stomping it too.
John, it just seems like that interior of Aliquippa's defense, McBride, Crowder, and Eberhardt, all pushing 300 pounds, and they're all quick too. McBride was a place winner in the WPIL shot put last spring. I mean, he's an athletic guy, and Antoine, I'm sure you can see from your own experience, they clog the running lanes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They do a great job of taking their gaps and getting through there fast. They're faster than what people would think.
Right,
they're 300-pounders. People just
no question
underestimate their speed, but them dudes are fast, and when they want to play, they're going to play.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with Aliquippa's front too. They're very, like you said, they're big, but they're not plodding big. They're athletic big.
Right.
They really move.
Again, you should see McBride's footwork in the shot circle. Yeah. He's very adept at that. So. And as we and the other thing is, there's not many yards after contact when you plow into one of them. No. They engulf ball carriers. They make it difficult. So, but Antoine, just in parting, I know you got a lot on your mind in terms of playoffs and everything. Have you even given college a thought yet? Do you take a look at that, or are you going to delay that till later on in the fall?
I definitely gave it a thought, but I'm not really too big into it. I just want to take my senior year day by day. You only get one senior year, so I just want to make the most of it and then just have fun with my guys.
Very well.
Would you like to play in college? Is that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I love football. Freshman year, me not playing, I hated it. So I definitely want to continue to play.
Yeah.
Very well. Well, we're glad you made the trip in here, and certainly proud that you were CCBC Player of the Game against Blackhawk, and all you can try to do is keep notching up a few more, but hopefully you get to either here or Acrisure Stadium, whatever you want to call it.
Thank you.
We wish you the best. Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, we're going to take one final break and bring back Coach Nick Nardone of the Beaver Falls Tigers. You're watching the Coach's Corner here on Facebook Live and listening on 99.3, 95.7, 1230 AM, and 1460 WMBA.
Did you know Fisher's New Brighton Foodland is as close as a click? That's right. If you're watching or listening to this broadcast online, open up a new window and click GroceryStoreNewBrighton.com and start shopping right now. Fill your grocery order from New Brighton Foodland and follow Beaver County High School football all at the same time. What could be better? Fill your shopping cart up without ever leaving the sidelines. Visit GroceryStoreNewBrighton.com.
No matter what the circumstances, no matter the reason, one of the few things that is left when a loved one passes on are the memories. Staging those memories in an honoring way is one of the reasons so many people have chosen J&J Spratt Funeral Home. A person's legacy depends on a lifetime of accomplishments and then how they are remembered. J&J Spratt Funeral Home has helped start the process of creating positive legacies for over 70 years. Visit jjsprattfh.com. Joseph M. Spratt, Supervisor and Funeral Director. You can run out and buy a new car, if you can find one or afford one. Or you can take good care of the one you have. Take it from Steve at Junction Auto Service. It's all about maintenance. A lot of things have changed in the past few years, but taking care of your car isn't one of them. Now more than ever before, it makes good sense to maintain the vehicle you have. And nobody does it better than Junction Auto. Mention you heard this ad and get 10% off any visit. Visit junctionautoservice.com or stop by their location at 425 Constitution Boulevard, New Brighton.
Carver Construction in New Brighton is proud of all of our local football teams. They know what it takes to be a winner. It takes dedication, talent, and desire to do your best. All the things Carver Construction offers its customers. They've been doing it since 1982 for both residential and commercial renovations. Carver Construction, 1090 3rd Avenue in New Brighton. Building dreams one home at a time. Call 724-847-1572 or visit their website, carverconstructionpa.com.
Are you in high school and thinking about your future, or know someone who is? Consider Geneva College. Geneva is a Christian college that prepares students for meaningful service and their life's work. Geneva has over 145 majors and programs, 18 varsity sports, 100 study abroad programs, and lots of club activities. And Beaver County scholarships help to make a Geneva education affordable. Learn more by visiting geneva.edu. That's geneva.edu.
We are back for our final segment of the Coach's Corner. And along with John Perrotto, I'm Bruce Frey. Nick Nardone, kind enough to come all the way over the bridge on 588 and come and see us. And John, again, another good night of delivery from Pizza Joe. Actually, you were the pickup man. You went there in person.
I was. Like you said, everyone goes to Pizza Joe's, so
Right.
I guess I'm just like everyone else.
Absolutely. We're glad that you did. We're glad that we have some here for our staff and for our guests, and we'll certainly look to continue that tradition. It's been great for us over time. We certainly enjoy it, and thanks so much. And again, in our final segment with Coach Nardone, Coach, what's the mood of the staff and the student body at Beaver Falls High School as we head into this WPIL semifinal round?
Just excited. I mean, it's one of those weeks just like any playoff game. It's Monday and you just can't wait till it's Friday. Just sitting around. I mean, you get your practices in, but these kids are ready. They've been preparing all year. They know what they're doing. We're just anxious for Friday to come so we can get out there and see what we can do.
Great.
I realize the age of your players, they don't have a great grasp of like Beaver Falls' history, but obviously your program is a very storied program, one of the most storied programs in the WPIL, even the state. Are your kids able to latch on to that pride and tradition, even if they may obviously not have a great frame of reference, not being all that old, but is that something that you preach, something that they hold on to? Yeah,
we try to, and it's a big part of how I've tried to get my staff together. I have guys on my staff that have been on some of these teams. I have lucky enough to have Dwight Collins, Beaver Falls grad, who was part of those great teams, played in the Whitfield Championship. B.J. McBride, who was around during the 2010 season when they were playing for a championship, and then Jakari Cleckley, who was on that state championship team. So
Right.
having those guys on the staff has been a huge part of helping these guys understand that tradition.
It's amazing because how time flies. Your seniors now were in 6th grade for that 2016 championship team. And that's the one thing about places like BF and Aliquippa and even Central Valley. It's great to see all the Pee-wees in their Pee-wee jerseys hanging on the fence. You know, they're checking out the whole thing. And I'm sure there are young men in Beaver Falls watching us tonight, watching your game, who want to be the next Tigers to make their mark.
Yeah, I mean, this community is a storied community in terms of athletics, and we're just lucky enough as a staff to be a part of it and just try to help these kids understand what they can do and what has been done in the past and continue that tradition.
Nick, you get to this point, and I know it's a long year, no doubt, and you get guys nicked up, you banged up. You had the off week 2 weeks ago, and I know a lot of times maybe coaches don't want to take a week off from playing, but what was that like, the off week? What is that like for you, and how did you approach it?
I mean, we treated it like a game week. I mean, we knew who we were potentially playing for, so we ran 2 scout team offenses preparing for both teams, and we ran 2 scout team defenses preparing for both teams. So we treated it like a game week all the way up to Friday.
John mentioned it's a long year, and it certainly has. Particularly in single A and double A, you always got to be careful because if you lose one player, you lose 2 starters. How much do you actually hit this time of year? Full contact?
I mean, we practice hard because it's a physical game, and I think our kids need to understand and be able to play through bumps and bruises. So, I mean, we go pretty physical the first couple of days of practice. We'll ease up as the week goes on, but our first few days, we like to be physical to make sure those kids are ready for the banging that they're going to be doing on Friday.
I wanted to ask you, going back to Friday night's game of Ligonier Valley, I thought it was a very sportsmanlike gesture. I mean, obviously you were in control of the game by halftime and or on a running clock in the second half. And when you were on offense, you consciously ran the play clock down to the very last second before you snapped the ball. What was behind your thinking there?
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't remember or realize, but our first year here was a struggle. I mean, we went 1-9, and we were on the other side of all those lopsided victories. So we've seen that side, we've been on that side, and like you said, you never want to embarrass another team. So I thought Ligonier had a great season, and we did what we needed to do in the first half, and we just felt like it was right to not do too much and overly embarrass them.
Nick, you just adding on to what John mentioned with the high scores, your second and third line players, they've been in camp since August. They did off-season workouts. How do you handle that approach? You know, that you want to get them in the game, but how do you handle that whole idea of the quote-unquote rubbing it in? I mean, how do you try to temper that enthusiasm?
Yeah,
or
I mean,
can you?
I mean, you put those second-team guys in, but you tell them that they're playing football and they're playing hard. I mean, you don't want to embarrass the other team, but at the same point, you never want your team to let up. So you put your younger guys in, and you give them opportunities and let them show what they're capable of. But you make sure that they're playing hard as well, and if you get an opportunity, you slow the clock down, slow the game down to make sure that, like I said, you don't score too many times and embarrass the team, but you never tell your kids to not play hard and not play to their fullest and to their best abilities.
You know, I know some people might say it doesn't, you know, if you win 52-0 or 52-7, it's still a win's a win. But how important was it for your kids to get that shutout, especially on defense? I know they were playing hard right to the last whistle.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's something we tell our younger guys. Like, you go in, you don't give up a touchdown. We started the shutout, you finished the shutout. And we challenge those younger guys to do just that. And we're proud of them when they go in there and they do just as well as the first team did, and they're able to keep that shutout going.
Plus, there's always going to be a film session too, and nobody wants any parts of that.
Yeah.
So the time has flown past pretty much for us tonight. About half a minute or so left. Anybody? Oh, we got to say hi to Heidi. She calls up everyone, our best BF Tiger fan out there. So we want to say hi to her. But thanks again to Coach Nick Nardone. For John Perrotto, I'm Bruce Frey. For our producer, Curtis Walsh. Check us out, Beaver County Radio, this Friday, WPIL semifinals. You're watching the Coach's Corner here on Facebook Live, Beaver County Radio, 95.7 FM and 99.3 FM. Thanks a lot and have a pleasant evening.